Oh, welcome back. So now we're going to continue talking about the characteristics that bilaterians have, including their types of tissues and body cavities. We've already discussed symmetry, which they all have that bilateral symmetry, but we also learned about the other types of symmetry found in sponges and cnidarians. So recall in terms of tissues that these animals that we're going to be studying now, the bilaterians, have true tissues. Tissues are groups of cells working together to perform a specific function. During development of a bilaterian, there's going to be three germ layers that give rise to tissues and organs of the animal embryo. And those types of germ layers are the endoderm, the mesoderm, and the ectoderm. Let's have a closer look at those. Ectoderm is the outermost layer. It covers the surface of the embryo. Ecto means usually outside or outermost. And you can see that on the diagram at the bottom. Both diagrams actually, first on the left of the medusa of a cnidarian, and on the right, which would be for the earthworm, the blue. The endoderm is the innermost germ layer. It lines the digestive tube, which is called an archenteron. Cnidarians, though, have only those two germ layers. They only have the ectoderm and the endoderm. They're not going to have the third layer, which is the mesoderm. So that is why, even though we have the cnidarian here, it doesn't have the characteristics that the bilaterians do with the three germ layers, which is a term called triploblastic. I believe that's a typo there. That should be triploblastic with an L. Apologies. So, okay, let's first look at the cnidarian. Notice where the endoderm is. It's shown in yellow. And on the earthworm cross-section, it's also shown in yellow for consistency. That helps. And that's the innermost layer, which is going to be surrounding their intestine. They basically have an intestine that runs almost the whole length of their body, and that would be the tissue that surrounds that. The mesoderm is the third germ layer, only found again in triploblastic bilaterians. Fills the space between the ectoderm and the endoderm. So that's shown in red for the earthworm, but don't confuse that with the cnidarian because the red there, oh, I'm sorry, actually it was blue. The red is something other than that, the mesoglia. Okay, so just as a recap before we go on to the next topic, all the bilaterians, including the earthworm, which is one, including humans, they're going to have all three of these germ layers that arise during embryonic development. So now let's head back to our summary of the important aspects of animal body plans. We've discussed now symmetry and tissues, and now what we're left with are the body cavities. Most bilaterians do have a body cavity, and the term for that body cavity is called a coelom, spelled C-O-E-L-O-M. A coelom is a fluid or air-filled space between the digestive tract and the outer body wall. It is not the digestive tract itself, it's that area between. So as shown here, again, the cross-section of this could be an earthworm or a mollusk, an arthropod. Earthworms are annelids, by the way. Echinoderm or chordate has the coelom is this white area there. So it's got the endoderm, the innermost area, mesoderm between the endoderm and the outer layer, the ectoderm. There are several different functions that body cavity or coelom provides to the bilaterian. It could provide a cushion for the internal organs so that they're not bumping into each other, alleviating some of the strain of gravity on the body of the organism. It also can enable the internal organs to move independently of the body wall, since they're not all attached. And it can also act as a hydrostatic skeleton, absorbing some of the energy from the body as the organism moves, providing support, rigidity. Okay, that is the one type of body cavity to start, having a coelom. Again, most bilaterians do have that coelom, but some bilaterians have what's called a pseudocoelom, such as the roundworms or nematodes. See if you can figure out what's different here between the pseudocoelom and the coelom. Something is a little bit different. Well, let's go back for a second, since I don't have a side-by-side. So notice that the body cavity with the coelom is lined with mesoderm, and that's not the case here. There's no mesoderm on the inside of the pseudocoelom. So that's why it's like it's trying to be coelom, but it's not quite there. It's like false coelom or pseudocoelom. Because we can't say it doesn't have coelom, because there are also some that have no coelom at all, and that's called an acoelomate. Flatworms of the phylum Platyhelminthes are acoelomates. So again, there's no pseudocoelom, there's no coelom. They just have the digestive cavity in the middle, endoderm, mesoderm, ectoderm. All right, so let's take a look back at where we left off on our phylogenetic tree. We are still talking about bilaterians, but the bilaterians now are going to branch off into different clades, 3 clades to be exact. The Deuterostomia, the Lophotrochozoans, and the Actiozoans. And you can see some of the key representative organisms from those different clades. And so again, within these clades, we'll see those different types of body cavities, but they all have that bilateral symmetry and the 3 germ layers during the embryonic development stage. We will be learning in more detail about each of these clades and then also representative phyla within each of the clades. But first, let's start with a bigger picture overview of some of the things we might see in general among all of the bilaterians. Most of them are invertebrates, which means that they do not have a backbone. In fact, about 95% of all the known animal species, which is millions of species, are invertebrates. And this is a very diverse group, both morphologically, the way they look, and taxonomically, their genetic makeup. And they're found almost in every habitat across the globe. Most of them do belong to the clades Lophotrochozoa and Ecdiozoa, but there are a few deuterostomes. Quick trivia question. Don't look it up. See if you know. What is the largest current existing or extant invertebrate? So think about the largest animal, but without a backbone. Take a pause if you don't want me to give it away, because I'm going on right now to the next slide. The answer to the trivia question is the giant squid. Pretty fascinating creature. It is a carnivore. So I don't think I would want to go in the water with this guy because they can be up to 33 feet long and weigh up to 440 pounds. They are about the size of a school bus. So if you are in the water with a giant squid, there's a good chance he might look at you like a prey item. So pretty cool creatures. They do inhabit deeper waters, but they're going to come to the surface to feed. They have to find food, and so they are often caught by fishermen, which is how we learned of these creatures. They were bycatch from fishermen. The squid was just trying to catch its own fish, and consequently got captured and probably kept for scientific purposes, hopefully. And so I want to end this lesson with our latest phylogenetic tree with more detail about the three clades of bilaterians, the Deuterostomia, the Lophotrochozoans, the Ecdiozoans, and some of these major phyla that we're going to be learning about in the next coming lessons.